In this video, we're going to look at the timing panel. Now, I've added a kick drum to this little part. And let's just mute the shaker for a moment so we can really focus in on the timing nuances in the conga part. So I'm going to select this note. And we have timing tools here and then the timing grid here. And as with the other panels, we can just click and drag up or down to move the timing of the notes to make them either ahead or behind the beat. But the tools at the left they bear some exploration because they're interesting. Now, they'll work on all the notes if nothing is selected, or if there is a selection, they'll work on selected notes. Now, if you want to, let's say this first panel is shift. If you want to shift everything ahead like that, I'm going to hit undo. You're better off just using this global shift if it's for all the instruments in the entire session percussionist instance. Now, let's say I want to move just the conga notes ahead, then I would use this shift. Now, let's say I want to just move certain conga notes ahead, like maybe I'm going to command click here, a couple of these longer notes. So maybe I want to, let's just remove that one there. Maybe I want to move just those ones ahead. I'm going to bring that up. And now it's offset the timing of those notes in particular. And the kick is perfectly quantized. I'll hit undo. So when they're below, it means they're a little behind the beat, and when they're above the center value, they're a little ahead of the beat. So that's shift. It basically adds or removes a fixed duration to all the notes that are selected. Now we have this next one, which is really interesting. It loosens or tightens the timing of the overall pattern. It amplifies or attenuates the timing differences between the notes. Now, if I move the slider upward, it's going to accentuate the differences in timing. So the late notes will get delayed and the early notes will get even earlier. So the player gets looser. So it's exaggerating what's already there. And moving it up a bit like that is actually interesting. It gives it more of a human feel. I'm going to hit undo. I'll exaggerate it. Still pretty musical. I'm going to hit undo. And if I move it down, it's going to reduce the differences and tighten the timing, bringing everything closer to the center line. Closer to being quantized. I'm going to hit undo again. Now here we have velocity-based shift. So moving these sliders upwards will bring high velocity notes forward, and it delays the lower velocity notes. So it's based on velocities here. And they're all fairly high, but some of these here are lower in the second bar. So if we go to the timing grid, we can see that it's having a more dramatic effect in here. Yeah, this note is really not in time. I'm going to hit undo. And if I move it down, it's going to do the opposite. High velocities get moved behind and lower velocities ahead. And I'm going to undo that. But a nice way to adjust timings based on the velocity. Now, randomize adds or removes a random value to each timing, and the position of the slider determines the maximum value that can be added or removed. So this will have very little variation, this will have more variation, and so on. So you could get interesting serendipity like that. I'm going to hit undo. I'll move it down. Again, I'll hit undo. And this acts as a limit function where it'll shrink the range of the available timing. So if we move this down, it'll bring the later notes forward. Like that. And you saw those get reduced. Again, it brings things closer to the center. I'll hit undo. And as we bring the bottom up, it delays the earlier notes. Again, I'll hit undo. In this case, I think I'll add a bit of the loosening and just kind of leave it like that, and I think that helps a lot. Now, in here, we can click and drag individual notes, as we know, but we can create a selection, like I've got these notes selected, but maybe I'll make a different selection here. I'm going to command-click just, let's say, these notes. I can alt-click and snap them all to the same value and then continue dragging to offset them, and I'm just going to hit that, or I can use Shift to scale the amounts. And again, I'm going to just hit undo there. Next video, we'll look at the flams panel.